Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Scorpio. If Scorpio is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let me just move this over a little bit. Okay. I've had some technical difficulties tonight. All right, let's see. Ooh, okay. Okay, let's check out these tea leaves. My goodness. So, our card tonight is the Prince of Wands, and this has some swift energy, strength, a tendency towards maybe being a little impulsive, maybe some emotional violence, tendency towards violence possibly, somebody who is generous, and really kind of looking for a sense of harmony, but can be arrogant, right? And also often attractive. So let's see, where should we start here? Okay. So we have, it looks like almost like a person, kind of a bird person really, on the run here. And it looks like they are almost right here. I see kind of the head of a hawk, it looks like. So I almost think this is kind of like the close-up of this face here. I feel like there is a sense of just kind of a little bit of cruelty, callousness, kind of rising up. I feel like maybe we're going into a period of time where things are feeling maybe a little bit more bleak, out of control. There is this kind of sharp creativity that you have. You probably have also, you're quite clever and a really sharp sense of humor. I think though that at times you can use it in a way that kind of lays people to waste, and we see a person kind of laying here with their feet up. Okay, and I think that really there's a situation that I don't know if this has already happened or if this is something that may be happening here in the near future, but I think that it maybe has something to do with somebody who you're pretty close to. I would say maybe like a good friend, a best friend, maybe somebody you're in a relationship with. And this is a person that at times you can be pretty, pretty cruel to, I guess. And I'm only laughing because I get kind of uncomfortable being a little bit, I don't know, convicting of somebody's personality or behaviors. But I do think that at times you do have some bad behaviors when in relation to this person. I think that this is not unlike how a child kind of behaves, a young child, when, and I just learned this becoming a parent, right? That when children kind of behave poorly at home, They kind of act out. They'll hit, scream, cry, demand, throw their tantrums and have meltdowns and things. They do this often with maybe their primary caregiver, with their parents, somebody they feel very comfortable with. And this is because they feel like they can be themselves. And they have not kind of developed the ability to discern, like, how do we process these feelings? Where do we put this energy? How do we let this kind of manifest in a way that is not harmful to others, and so on? A lot of times they don't even know what they're feeling. They just know they don't feel good, right? They're mad, or upset or scared or whatever. And so I think that this is similar in that this person is somebody that you feel very close to. You feel almost like an unconditional love, a relationship where it's like anything could happen and you will always be close. Well, that's not the reality of relationships, is it? Even if we do have what we would consider an unconditional love, there are things that can fracture relationships, and that a lot of that's like boundary stomping, being verbally abusive to some degree, right? It doesn't have to be all the way what you would consider real abuse, but to be unkind to somebody in a deep way, especially if it is somebody that you know well and you can say things to them that maybe are sore points for them, things that maybe have to do with their self-esteem, private things that you've known them for a long time, so you have knowledge of these things, or they've told you in confidence and you use them against them, this kind of thing, right? And I'm not really trying to come down on you. We all are capable of this kind of behavior. I think that this is something that happens, even with adults, more than we can even imagine, really, in the privacy of people's relationships. It is, sometimes more difficult than anybody can see from the outside. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't work on treating each other better, right? Especially people that we love so much. And now I think that, and as I turn this, I see this kind of as an X, but also as a person falling. I also see this as a person falling up here. And I think, I look at this and I think this is starting to wear on this friendship, on this relationship. And by no means am I saying that you're not the only one that is maybe behaving this way. This could be, definitely a two-way street, but you are the only person who is in control of how you behave, right? And so, I think that this reading, me coming to you humbly, as a fellow, sometimes mean person, sometimes raging person, which I am. Sometimes I really, I've talked about this in my other readings. I'm neurodivergent. I have trauma. I have PTSD, depression issues. I have anxiety, general and social anxiety. And sometimes I really just, I have flare-ups. I have things that really trigger me. And it takes a lot for me to be self-aware, to catch myself. Sometimes I just don't, and I say the thing, this snippy little comment. I, huff and puff around, whatever it is. But do the people around me deserve that? No, absolutely not. Right? So, and I don't deserve to feel like that all the time either, or even some of the time. So, we have to look for ways to be responsible for our own reactions, behaviors, coping mechanisms. Okay? And I know that I have talked about this. And let me just say, I want to say with the falling symbols here of the people, I feel like this is going to come to a point where it just doesn't work anymore. Okay, that this dynamic. I think that this person that is in your life, I feel like when these things come up, and I kind of feel like this is like a good friend, really, because I wonder if they don't have, if they're not like married and have their own family, or, they just have their own situation going on. They've kind of laid down some roots. They're busy. And you two are still close, and you have your own life as well. That is busy and meaningful, and all of these things rewarding. But there's still this dynamic where things come up, and there's like little fights, big fights, mean things are said. And I feel like more and more this person just kind of disappears. They don't answer your calls. They don't answer your texts. They disappear off of social media. And I think that it is really an indicator that it's coming to the point where they just are not going to put up with this anymore. This is an old, outmoded thing for them. I feel like it is for you too, because I think that you think about this when you start to feel these kinds of the intensity kind of ramping up inside of you, and you think this goes into more and more destructive territory. This energy must stop, right? And so I'm going to go back around to we start talking about what do we do instead of saying the mean thing, instead of, rage texting somebody, instead of, blaming somebody for somebody, having a meltdown and, screaming at somebody, causing a scene, whatever it is. Where do we put that? Okay, so we do things like changing our body temperature. You can do this by taking a shower. Go and take a cold shower when you're feeling angry. When you're feeling anxious and more like a depression, you take a warm shower. If you're feeling rage, maybe as well anxious, having panic, you can take a cooler shower. Bring your body temperature down. Another thing you can do, primal screaming. This is probably my favorite one. Going somewhere, maybe outside in the woods, maybe outside in the middle of the street. Maybe you're in a big city. Just go outside and scream from your core. Let it out. Let it out. Cry. Scream. Scream, 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 until you can't anymore. There's not a lot of energy left to be mean to people, to be unkind, to be cruel and callous when you've screamed it all out. The other thing, intentional movement to your level of ability. Doing things like cutting wood, stacking rocks, pushing them over, breaking rocks, doing demo, breaking things down. Listen, go and break down a huge thing of cardboard boxes. Just demolish those things. You just let out so much energy doing that. Yeah, it can be annoying. I mean, that might make you more angry a little bit, but at the end of it, you just don't have any more in you to be too mad about. But just releasing that energy in a constructive way. And then the other thing I also love to talk about is sublimation. Okay, and this is the idea that we take things that are kind of unsavory, maybe really dark inclinations, that rage, the power we feel in that rage, whatever, putting it into artwork, writing, making something useful for you. Okay. Maybe you're not an artist, but you can journal. You can, make doodles. You can, there's so many ways. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be professional. It can be, crayon drawings, whatever. But making something with this, this storm you have inside of you, and letting it go little by little, right? And so here I have it looks like an animal of some kind, like a pack animal, but we also have a person sitting on top of it. So this is kind of that energy kind of packing up and moving along, right? But for me, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this seems like a departure from this cycle, right? This loop that you get into. This is where maybe the most important work as a human being is done. Breaking those cycles of abuse, of trauma, of, how the way that we treat each other, the conditioning. Okay? These outmoded social norms, how we behave with one another. This kind of just, feedback of unkindness, kind of masquerades as power, control, posturing into like a person who can't be hurt or whatever. You're going to hurt them first. We, those of us who are, kind of cursed with this tendency towards anxiety, towards anger, rage. A lot of us have gone through some difficult things, especially as young people, because these are so often coping mechanisms that are created to protect ourselves in conditions and situations that are unthinkable. And, so the work has to be done where we recognize that we don't want to treat people like this. We don't want to hurt people like we've been hurt. We don't want to be terrorized like people have terrorized us. You don't want people to be in pain like pain. And so when that impulse to lash out, to say the mean thing, to knock somebody down a little bit emotionally with your words, hopefully not physically, but if that's it too, we stop ourselves, right? We stop ourselves. We take ourselves out of the situation. We go and breathe. We go and scream, we go and let it out, whatever it is we have to do. And we realize this will pass, this feeling will pass. We don't need to poison somebody else with how we feel. And you do that once, and then you do it again. And you keep trying every time this comes up. After a while, it'll start to seem more and more normal to not call people names, to not, scream, yell, throw a fit, whatever it is. And then you get to some point where you think, I can't believe that I ever behaved that way. That's not your default anymore. And you get to another point where you think, I can't believe somebody else treated me that way. And likely when you were a child. And so we let go of that instinct. We let go of that arrogant self-righteousness that we think it's okay for us to behave that way. That impulse goes away. I think we get more into a posture where we want to protect people. We'll stick up for other people. We'll get in between these kinds of situations. Not every time, though. Sometimes you might raise your voice. Sometimes, you might say the thing you shouldn't. But you apologize, right? And you try to do better. There's no room for pride in all of this. And this really, in my opinion, it really truly is the work that we have to do. The most important work is clearing out these kinds of energies from ourselves, these kinds of pathways. Because they really are community sicknesses. They are family sicknesses. They are they taint the collective. And all day long we can talk about going out in the world and changing things. And yeah, that's great. But the people who take the time to heal themselves, to change their behaviors, to go against what has always been done, those are the people that are doing the important work. And I feel like that's why you're here right now. That's why we're talking about this. It's not just a warning about something coming. It's an invitation to do better, to continue to do better. Maybe it is just a reinforcement on a path that you're already on. You're already doing this work. And this is just a reminder that it is the work. And now I look at this one and I see we have a person kind of standing here, and we have these it looks like footsteps up this way, right? And I feel like when you get into a place where this kind of Prince of Wands energy has subsided to some degree, you're feeling more centered, you're feeling clear-minded, you look around, you think this world is so beautiful, there's so much softness in it, there's so much softness in myself. I don't understand how I can ever get to those places where it feels like everything is so dire and terrible, and I just want to you know, get rid of it, destroy it, whatever. And more, you know, you come to this place where it's just, you feel so woven into everything that everything is in its right place. And I think that this is really becomes a privilege of doing this kind of work, becoming that self-healer. The world, the universe, the divine reveals itself to you in ways that you maybe had no idea. These ideas of becoming ecstatic, to be so in love with the subtle, the cosmos. You can't do that through anger or control. It's all about relinquishing that tight grasp. You can imagine those fists. Letting yourself relax, letting yourself become that leaf, you know, going down the river. The current is taking you. You don't want to be flailing, screaming and raging. And so anyways, that's just my 2 cents about this all. These are the things that I tell myself. These are the things I think about. You know, this is work that I have to do often, that I do many times a day. I have to make a lot of decisions about not getting upset, not letting that feeling of overstimulation make me cranky. You know, advocating for myself that I need to go outside, scream, breathe, whatever. Go take a cool shower. Do the things. Put those techniques into practice. So, I want to thank you for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor. If you'd be so kind as to like the video, it helps the channel get into the algorithm. And as we all know, the algorithm is king, emperor, whatever, empress. Basically decides what is going to happen with the channel, with the videos. And so any kind of engagement really kind of makes the algorithm happy. If you like the video, if you watch the video all the way through, if you watch multiple videos, even, you know, your other placements, if you share the readings onto social media. Of course, you don't have to do any of these things, but I mention them because you might not know. Other than that, if you have not subscribed, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next video is coming out. Yeah, and if you want to leave a comment, I read them, I promise, I do. I know sometimes it takes me a day or two, and it's just things get really busy. I'm kind of looking forward to the fall. Hopefully things slow down a little bit, and I can spend more time really engaging a little bit more. So anyhow, I want to thank you, and we will talk again real soon.